Well, greetings and salutations, everyone. I hope everyone is still doing well. Welcome back for part 2 of Halloween edition of Dogman Encounters with Jeffrey Nadolny. Before we get any further, a couple links. As you know, I rely on Patreon, PayPal, and my merch store to help the channel to continue to grow and go. Those links are in the description below. Also, Dogman Frightening Encounters, Volume 1, 2, and 3, the audiobook versions. They were written and researched by Tom Lyons, narrated and produced by me, Jeffrey Nadolny. Those audiobooks are available on Audible, Amazon, and iTunes, the links to which are also in the description as well. Now, everyone, I have taken far too much of your time. Let's get on with today's, second upload of today. Shall we? Today's second part of the upload is going to be a little bit about me and what happened in my life and why I feel I was gifted a terminal illness. Now, I've shared this once before, and I'm going to share it probably the final time on my channel. I don't like talking about this, and it's very upsetting for me to talk about. But I will share it one last time on this holiday edition. So, I live and have lived all of my life in upstate New York. Now, when I say upstate, I don't mean Rochester, Buffalo, that area, because in real upstate New Yorkers, that's not upstate, that's Western New York. Upstate is the Adirondacks, just south of Canada and north of Albany. Now, around my area is the Hudson River, the Adirondack Mountains. We have lots of farm fields and lots of farm land. Just a beautiful place to live and grow up. And rather boring sometimes. I grew up in a small town in between Saratoga, New York and Lake George, New York. You can Google both of those. Saratoga is world famous for horse racing, and Lake George is the queen of the American lakes. The town I grew up in was a very rural farm town called Moreau, part of South Glens Falls. And my family at one point owned a large majority of the town. It used to be called Jacobyville. And that is my family on my mom's side. Lots of farming, lots of horses, lots of oil. Not like Texas oil, but lots of like oil distributing and stuff like that, gas stations. My family had its hands in a lot of stuff. Now I'm going somewhere with this. Being that my family had ties to this community for centuries, there were a lot of old houses owned by my family and old farms. And one was where my playground was growing up. It was an old farm. It was a pig and cattle auction farm. My cousin, and my other cousin, myself, and our friends would work this farm under the dictatorship of my uncle, my great uncle. And when I say we worked it, we didn't get paid. We just worked on the farm. But, we had a lot of fun as well. We would usually feed the hog, feed the cows, cut the corn, hay, a lot of hay, and, load the silo with the insilage, the hayloft after we were done, baling the hay and picking it up by hand and throwing it on wagons. It was hard work, but it was fun. We used to ride our ATCs and ATVs all throughout the land. There was some sand pits out there that we used to ride in. We just had a lot of fun. And we were young and dumb. This is late 80s, early 90s now. And our choice of music was, well, I don't know. My oldest cousin was into metal, death metal. So we all, listened to Metallica, Slayer, lots of Slayer, Testament, just a lot of old metal. And we were just bored. So at night, we would hang out down in the barn and mess around, try to scare each other. Well, I don't know who brought the Ouija board into the barn one night, but it was a permanent fixture of that barn for a long time. And this barn, if you walked in the door, you kind of walked in and there was the cow stanchions. Behind you were the they were just kind of small little areas where there's 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 8 like boxes, but they weren't boxes. The tops were open, where mother pigs would have their babies. So the mother pigs would have their babies. Above us, there's a hayloft, and right where the cow stanchions were, there was a square hole large enough to drop a large bale of hay through. And then you'd kind of go through the barn a little more, and there was more cow stanchions. And then at the end of that, there was a door that led into a pig pen, a big pig. It was just a big fenced in area that had probably 30 or 40 pigs in there. And the other side of that barn was the insilage pit, where we'd climb up and we'd blow the insilage in. We'd have to walk and kind of step on it and kind of pack it in for use for the winter and stuff like that. It was just a really old barn, but it worked. It worked for its purpose. It was definitely not a clean barn, a modern barn. And we decided that we were going to play Ouija all the time. And we got pretty deep into it. We at one point were, just, I don't know, experimenting with the dark side. We were stupid. We were kids. We would ask really obscene and obscure questions, and we'd always want to speak to evil. I don't know why, because we were idiot kids. That's why. Now, this farm has had lots of death on it. There had been people who had fallen in machinery and died. There was rumors that a guy had I don't know exactly the whole thing, but apparently he had gotten eaten by pigs. And our great uncle told us about this thing called the Blue Man, and it was a very short person, and it almost glowed this blue color. And he said he's seen it many times, and it would just we never saw it. I mean, we think we had, but we never like really got a full on glimpse of it. But it was just one of the urban legends of the farm. And I guess whenever it was around, like just bad stuff would happen. Not really sure, because that was before my time. It was, my great uncle's time when he was growing up on that farm. That's how old it is. That farm now is uh, dilapidated, and I'll share why. So we're getting deep into this Ouija, and this is before the Zozo crap, and before the internet, and we're asking questions. And I remember one night, it was a really cold fall night, and we're just all, it was warm in the barn because of the animals and stuff. And it was at least 20 degrees warmer out or inside than outside. So if it was like 40 out, it'd be 60 in there. And we're all sitting on milk crates playing Ouija. There was my cousin Melvin, my cousin John, myself, and our friend Nick. And we're getting deep. And I remember one time it kept going from O to Z, O to Z, O to Z. And, we're making jokes, cracking fun, because we're not really taking it serious, but we are. And we're like, Ozzy, but now as time went on, I'm thinking, once the internet came and I heard about the Zozo creature and stuff like that, I was like, whoa, that's what it was spelling out. So we start, experiencing some really strange things. One night, the lights go off in the barn. We, just they went off. We had to turn the circuit breaker back on. We kept seeing things out in the cornfield, which was, if you walked out of the barn, there was a dirt road, and it went down both sides, but the cornfield was right there. You walk out and boom, cornfield. You cross the dirt road first, and then down just past the barn was little garages attached to the barn where the tractors were kept and stuff like that. So we'd kept seeing weird things out in the cornfield, like large people, humans, large, just huge, whatever. One night the plastic kind of contorted and looked like the face of the devil. We actually stopped playing that night because of that. Not forever, but. And, it got really weird, to the point where we went to a church, all four of us, and took a bottle, like washed out a bottle of Mountain Dew, and then filled it up with holy water to bring with us when we played. So we were getting scared. We were terrified. The last night we play this Ouija board, it's a really cold fall night, almost winter, and we're playing, and mind you, we had been playing this Ouija for the entire summer before this. It's just we got obsessed. And one of the pig litters, the whole litter died. And we cleaned them up, cleaned them out. And for some reason, one of my cousins got the bright idea to put pig's blood on the Ouija board. And that night, it told us that we were going to see hounds of hell. It spelled out hounds of hell. And it said that we were all going to die. All of us. And we were all freaked out. We were scared. I don't remember exactly what happened to the board. But that night, we're done playing. And my cousins, we have to finish up chores. So they boost me up through the hole in the hayloft to drop down a couple of bales of hay. Now, there is no light up there because it's old. And any type of spark would set that place ablaze. You've got straw dust up there, old hay. It's just dry. It's a fire hazard, so there's no light. I'm using the light from underneath me to see. I'm up there and I hear this like scuffling noise, this shuffling kind of. And I remember looking back and I saw this silhouette of someone running at me. Now, the hole is right in front of me, and it's literally a 7 to 8 foot drop onto a cement floor. And I jumped. I jumped down. No one was there to catch me. I just slammed hard. As I slammed, my cousin Melvin, who was very protective of me, I looked up and we saw this hand reach out, like try to grab me from the loft. So we all, we grabbed flashlights, my uncle, dad. They check it out. There's what looks like a nest, like a person or something made a nest up there and had been sleeping up in there. So we're all freaked out. It's freaking nuts. And we all end up going to bed. Now, we all crash at my cousin's house, which is just up a small dirt road. And he had a big room, so we're all like crashed out. We played video games, watched movies, and chilled. And I remember my cousin had a horrible nightmare, and he said he saw the hounds of hell. He woke up in a sweat. Things were just almost coming to fruition. So then now time has passed and we kind of all forget about that day. Like I said, I don't remember what happened in the Ouija board. We stopped playing it that night. It was done. It was too much. I don't know if we threw it away or what happened. I really, honestly, it's a lost memory for me. Now, thinking back, this board told us all that we were all going to see hounds of hell and die. Now, 3 years later, I have my Dogman encounter. It's not a hound of hell, but it could be, looked at as one. I don't know what. I remember Melvin had that nightmare. I don't know about John or Nikki. And it said we were all going to die. My cousin John died of cancer. I was the youngest. So they were all maybe 3 to 4 years older than me. So if I was 14, 15, they'd be 19. John died probably 6 years later of cancer. Real young. Nikki lost his way. Nikki lost his soul. He became a very, very heavy drug addict, and he moved. He's still alive, but he's spiritually dead. He's not doing well. I don't know how to explain what happened to him without sounding like, I don't know. It's just, I don't want to, and we don't know his last name, but he became a male prostitute, which was just completely bizarre. And a drug addict. He moved away from the small town, and that's what happened to him. So he's spiritually dead, and probably whatever, sick or whatever is going on with him. I don't know. So John Jr. died of cancer. Nick is spiritually dead, and Melvin was his dad. My great uncle was the owner of the farm. Started his own excavation business, just doing good. New Year's Eve day, about 8 years ago, he was working on a dump truck, a large tractor trailer type dump truck, and something happened to the brakes or something, and he was underneath it, and it crushed him. There was no saving him. It just crushed him. And then I was diagnosed with a terminal illness and almost died. I was so close to death. There is virtually no way I should be here. I was 6 foot, 113 pounds. My legs were the size of my arms now. I should have died. I should be dead right now, but I didn't. By the grace of God, there was a higher calling or something. I don't know. But that right there, that experience, that summer into fall, I would say 1990, yeah. Is the reason why I believe I saw my Dogman and why I was diagnosed with my illness, because we played with something we shouldn't have. Now, granted, the Dogman is not a hellhound or a, whatever, but to me it is. To me, that was what that Ouija board told us was going to happen. That was it for me. And like I said, by the grace of God, I didn't die. So that is why I believe I'm sick and why I had my encounter. And that is why I don't like Ouija boards to this day. They are not a game. They are. It's like a friggin' phone to the spirits, and you randomly push buttons on a phone. You may get someone you don't want to get. We were asking for that person we didn't want to get, and we got him that night. And all of our lives, us four, have paid for it. So this will probably be the last time I ever share this. I want to thank you guys for listening. And happy Halloween. With that, I urge everyone to be kind to each other. May the Great Spirit watch over you and guide you through your path of life. And farewell.